I have always been here.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to night 3 of Wicked Wednesdays. And this evening, we will be talking about the John Carpenter classic Halloween 1978 and the follow-up Halloween 2. And this evening, I have got with me Mr. CCDV, and we're supposed to have two other people joining us or anything for the discussion and everything. And we, as soon as they get here, we will get started. And just click to the chat. Oh, well, Mr. Lindell, sir, you're supposed to be in here. So, Mr. Lindell, please go over to Twitter and click on the link because you're supposed to be on this panel, sir. And very quick to the chat also, Positive Candor, good evening, sir. Thank you for being here. It has been a while, and glad you could be here. So, but yeah, this, folks, is a quintessential Halloween classic. Not to mention, it is a great horror movie. And speaking of, you can call him many things, but never call him late for dinner, but maybe call him late for the occasional live stream. Here's Mr. Lindell of Mr. Lindell's Groovy Movies. Good evening, sir.
Hiya.
Mr. Lundell.
Good evening, sir. As always, good to see you. So, glad you could join us, as always. And, yeah, guys, we are talking, as I started to say, we are talking about, in my opinion, anyways, a quintessential Halloween and horror classic. At least, in my opinion, a pair of horror classics. I know some people say, the second one's not as good. I disagree, but that's me. Yeah. So, fellas, I have done my spiel in a manner of speaking. Where would you like to begin?
Okay. Question for you guys.
Yes, sir.
I think the two of you are probably more up on the slasher films than I would be.
Mm-hmm.
Where does this rank?
CC?
I am going to go with this one is the top of the list. Okay. Halloween. Now, Halloween 2, I'd put farther down the list, but it's still on the list. If we're doing a 1 to 10, right? So, yeah. It is still on the list. It's just not nearly as high because they both, like Ambassador was saying, they both are good movies. But as far as slasher movies are concerned, I think this one is number one because it has the suspense leading up to the craziness with Michael Myers. Versus a lot of slasher flicks where they just jump out and start stabbing stuff, you know.
Yeah. very true. There. Now, another question, the history of slasher movies.
Yes, sir.
A lot of movie critics, they want to throw Psycho in there as the first slasher movie. I disagree.
I have to disagree as well. I honestly think that's...
Go ahead, Cece. It's fine.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's more of a suspense film than a slasher film.
Exactly.
The only thing that I could caveat that with is the chocolate syrup in the shower.
Yeah, and I agree. I would say Psycho is more of a psychological thriller more than it is a slasher film by any means. And technically, even with at least the first Halloween, it's not necessarily a slasher film per se. I mean, you could call it a slasher, but I call it I would even put in the same, maybe in the same camp as Psycho. And I think it's a psychological horror film more than anything. And very quick to the chat, Positive Camera brings up John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, that's another great one by, I think many people would consider a master filmmaker, in particular a master horror filmmaker, in particular with John Carpenter. But in preparation for this, I actually was able to obtain Blu-ray copies of both Halloween and Halloween 2 and everything, and that was the 30th anniversary version. But the cool thing about the Blu-ray for the first Halloween was they had a making of documentary, and it did a deep dive, and you learned so much, so much. A little tidbit, and I'll bring these up throughout the night as throughout the evening as we discuss this. Did you know this movie was done on a budget of $300,000?
I think I'd heard that before. That's super impressive.
About right.
It was done on a budget of $300,000, and the first one anyway. I think the budget for the second one was higher. I didn't get a chance to do any research for it, unfortunately, but this was right after. This was done just a couple of years or so after John Carpenter had done Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people would recognize Carpenter's handiwork with that one, especially because it was because of Assault on Precinct 13, and the producer and everything behind Halloween came to him and said, "Hey, I got an idea for like a slasher flick. Do you want to work on it?" And Carpenter and actually Deborah Hill had just recently started dating around this time, and she was script supervisor or something, and she on this, and the production was very low budget, obviously, and but it was so incredibly well done. And that was something that I really appreciated learning about this. Mr. Lundell, Cece, you're not old enough, but Mr. Lundell, did you have the opportunity to see this in theaters when it came out originally?
No, I didn't. This was one of those movies the folks would not give me money to go see. So, but you grow up, you join the army, you get your own money, you go, you go see it.
Yeah.
Actually, this I think it was this movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Motel Hell, all those. I was in my 20s before I saw them.
Oh, okay.
And that was one of them old-timey VCRs, right, where you had to put a cassette tape in it and stuff?
Yeah. That, and there was a mom and pop theater where I was stationed at Fort Hood. So, and they would show these movies. They would show them. And I got to see them in a theater setting.
Excellent. So to speak. Well, I didn't get to see these in theater, unfortunately. Fun fact, Halloween, the first one, is actually as old as I am. This movie is 42 years old. Literally. It came out in October of 1978. I was maybe just a few weeks old at the time when this movie came out, and I was like, oh, when I've learned this, I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, I was a sophomore in high school.
You were just a youngin'. You were just you weren't a youngin', but I was even so.
Oh boy. So anyway, it was now what I have trouble. Well, one thing I like to do, when they talk about the history of this particular genre, of this subgenre of horror movies, slasher. I like to start it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or maybe The Town That Dreaded Sundown,
Yeah.
as you know, the beginnings of this. Where filmologists get the psycho from, I mean, it's beyond me. I mean, I don't think they pay attention to enough to what Alfred Hitchcock's movies were about.
Yeah, so Hitchcock, he had a very much of a cerebral or even
Yeah.
psychological bent to his films. Now, I'm not saying John Carpenter didn't have this with the first movie. It kind of did.
Yeah.
Because something that they talked about and everything was the fact that they wanted this film to have a very claustrophobic or very intimate feel to it, and almost like, particularly with Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, she would see the shape, because at the time, that's all they called it, was the shape, or Michael Myers as we know him now. And she would see him, and then he'd be gone. And
Yeah.
it'd be almost like she was tricking herself into seeing something that wasn't actually there. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. But the interesting thing for me was this film, it put you on edge in a way that wasn't normal, because of one of the things that they did was the way that they shot it. They would start off with wide shots, and then they would narrow in. They would narrow the field of focus or anything to specifically on the characters, which isn't necessarily uncommon. But the way the Carpenter shot this, it was almost like the frame was shrinking down as the movie went on. Like the walls were closing in on the main character, obviously, of Laurie Strode. So
Right.
Yeah.
Especially that last half hour when she's running through the house and
Oh yeah. And he almost had her in the bedroom.
mhm.
Yeah, you're right about especially the way what grabs me,
mhm.
the way it started, the very first murder, and and it's a little kid. They pull the mask off, and they could have kept it on because of the expression on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talk about claustrophobic. The second half of that scene that you're talking about has the camera looking through those two little eye holes.
Yeah. Well, and, the funny thing is they used something that was relatively new to them and everything they had access to at the time, but they used what they call a Steadicam, which is very commonplace now.
Oh,
And they also used a dolly cam, or a pan glide, as it was called back then. And that opening shot was done basically with a Steadicam. Was done with a guy that had the camera mounted on him. And here's the fun thing. I'm gonna ask you all a question, and if you don't get the answer, that's okay. How many people played Michael Myers in the first Halloween?
I thought it was just 2.
3. Just to pull a number out of the air, I'll say 3.
Actually, let's see. Yeah, actually, it was 4.
Hmm.
Now, here's the interesting thing. In that opening shot, Deborah Hill is dressed up in a clown costume, which we see the young boy Michael Myers in later on.
Mm-hmm.
That's 1. Obviously, the young boy that we see at the beginning and everything, that's 2. And then you've got Nick Castle, who portrays Michael Myers throughout the majority of the film. And then when Laurie is able to, I think it's Laurie, if I remember correctly, was able to pull the mask off of Michael momentarily, it was a different guy entirely. I can't remember the name of the guy. Yeah. So 4 people portrayed Michael Myers in one film.
Any reasoning? Anything about the reasoning behind that?
Well, when they were doing the dolly shot going through the house, they needed somebody who had small hands, and Deborah Hill and everything had small hands. So they used her hand to grab the knife out of the drawer and then pick up the mask off the floor and put it on the front of the camera.
Oh, okay.
And then for that one shot, they wanted somebody who looked somewhat odd, had an odd look to them, an odd look to their face. And I think they did a little prosthetic work with him and everything, with that actor and everything, to kind of give him more of a deformed, just not like grotesque, but more of a deformed look to his face and everything. And that was everything. Because they wanted that one reveal to be really kind of startling, in a manner of speaking. Because here's the interesting thing. Nick Castle, who portrayed Michael Myers throughout the majority of the film, not a bad looking guy. Far from it. But not that it makes a difference to me, obviously. But
Or does it?
Ha ha ha. Funny guy here.
Hey, I had to put that line in there somewhere.
No, you didn't. You chose to. Big difference. But the thing that I found really interesting about this was the fact that everybody was in. Everybody was all in for the production. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, described it very well in her commentary for the film. And she was like, this was like guerrilla filmmaking. It was like very low budget, but everybody pitched in. Everybody did their part. And you can see that in the final product, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, everybody was invested. So
yeah, exactly. But guys, I feel like I've kind of monopolized the conversation. What's something about the first or second movie that you want to delve into? If you just want to focus on the first one, that's fine too. I don't care. So
let's see.
Oh, we could probably go with the doctor.
Oh, Dr. Loomis.
Dr. Loomis, yeah.
I mean,
Played by go ahead, Mr. Lundell, please.
Played by Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, played by Donald Pleasance.
The only guy that basically knew what the heck was going on.
Yep. But he couldn't get anybody to listen to him for the first half of the movie.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it was too late by that time, you know. He had racked up how much of a body count?
I think there were only 3 by the time someone actually started paying attention.
Yeah, and one problem though, if I'm remembering correctly, he mispronounced Samhain. Oh,
instead of Samhain or whatever.
I thought he said Samhain in the movie, but the correct pronunciation is Samhain. I know. I looked it up. And really, you would probably, CC would probably know more about this, since you do the religious stuff. You know, that's one of the things they don't know a whole lot of. They don't know anything about Druids, and it's one of the things that kind of gets blamed on Druids. You know.
Because later on in the series, they try and turn him into a druid sacrifice or some crap like that. But yeah, this one, even though he mispronounced it, Celtic words are hard. Okay. But,
yeah. And just real quick to the chat, LDG Pixels, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. And thank you for popping in. Appreciate it, as always. So. Well, yeah, and, you know, to kind of compare and contrast just a little bit and everything, honestly, I like the fact that we don't know that much about Michael Myers' motivations beyond what we know from the first movie. And I think, and don't get me wrong, the little bit that gets added in the second movie doesn't bother me and everything. If anything, it doesn't rob the mystique of Michael Myers. Anything, if anything, it kind of gives you a little bit of, oh, okay, that's why he's kind of doing what he's doing. So,
No, I'm sorry. It still doesn't make sense. I still don't know why he's
Well, he killed.
focused so much on Laurie Strode. I know what you're talking about.
Well,
and
see, he
so-
killed one sister, so he's trying to kill the other.
but he wouldn't even know. There's no way he should be able to know that.
yeah, that is true.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Yeah. That's right. They never explained how he was drawn to her.
Yeah,
Even though we know their brother and sister, she knows their brother and sister. At least in one of it comes out in one of the movies.
hmm
So
and just real quick to the chat, Jedi Bill 797. Good evening, sir. Thank you for. Good to see you. Glad you could pop in again and everything. I hope you're doing well. So, well, you know, honestly, the one thing I did not care for from the Rob Zombie remakes, and I'm not saying that the Rob Zombie remakes are necessarily bad, but I liked having that mystique of not knowing Michael Myers' motivations for why he decided to go off and kill half his family, or at least attempt to kill half of his family.
yeah,
I like that it was left kind of ambiguous. It wasn't clear cut. It wasn't zoomed in and everything for us. So, but again, that's just me. So,
I will say that the Rob Zombie remakes are bad. It's just an excuse to do body horror, which is what he was doing.
yeah, unfortunately, yes, that is true. So,
I never seen any of the Rob Zombie movies. You know, I was suspect when Turner Classics let him do a late night horror show. So
mhm.
they've got the best movie critics and filmographers in the world. Why give Rob
there's-
Zombie? You know,
There's a subgenre for body horror, right? So if you want to do that, you know, make your own movie. Don't remake a classic like this one.
That is true.
is it a classic already?
Hmm.
Well, I
think
guess so.
I think Cece's the movie is, let's see, 42 years old. Yeah, I'd say it definitely falls into the realm of classic, most
Since
definitely.
it's been getting watched every year for the last 42 years, I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can put it. Yeah, I'll relent. I'll say okay. I'll make it a classic. You know me with the black and white crap. So you know. So,
Yeah,
Oh, hey,
yeah.
black and white.
you know, if it's not Karloff or Lugosi, you know. So, but I'll give this one. I'll give this one its props.
Well, and you know, it's interesting that you would bring up Dracula for the simple fact that when they were casting this film, they were wanting to get a British actor, and actually two that they approached at the time one was Peter Cushing, and the other one was Christopher Lee. But
What, for the
Cushing,
role of Dr. Loomis?
of Dr. Loomis, yes.
Mm.
But Cushing's agent said he wants nothing to do with this. It's beneath him.
Huh.
And of course, Christopher Lee, being the gentleman that he is, he declined respectfully and everything. But here's the funny thing: I found this out, and I think I was watching the special features and whatnot, and listened to the IO commentary. Christopher Lee and Deborah Hill actually crossed paths at some sort of Hollywood function or whatever, and he's like, "I want to." She's like, he told me, I want to apologize for turning down. I want to apologize for turning down that role. I wish I hadn't.
Well, he may as well have done it. I mean, the guy's done heavy metal albums. Okay, so
Yeah,
Indeed.
I was gonna say some of the movies he was in were not nearly as good as Halloween.
That is true. And quickly to the chat. Moira Kitty, good evening, madam. Moira, if you're feeling up to join us, you are more than welcome to do so. If you're just wanting to lurk and linger, we understand. So Moira's had kind of a rough week, so I told her, I was like, hey, if you don't feel up to being on the panel tonight, that we would understand entirely. So, but good to have you in the chat regardless. So,
Jedi Bill says there's no body horror. Huh.
I've seen some slasher flicks that I wouldn't classify any other way.
I would have to agree, particularly with, let's say the Friday the 13th films. I would say those have definitely got some body horror to them.
Yeah.
And I would say that there is, one prime example of body horror would be
Can't think of the name.
No, I was just reading Moira's comment. One in particular is a John Carpenter film, and it's actually The Thing. He even said he would consider that a body horror film because of all the deformity and twisting and turning and everything else of all the creatures and everything of all the people for the movie.
Yeah, I would go with that.
But this one definitely, the first Halloween and the second Halloween, I would not describe as body horror by any stretch.
No, it's not.
No, they played with your adrenaline glands, especially in the first.
Yeah.
Okay. So even the television cut down version, it will, it'll drain those adrenal glands. So
yeah, and it wasn't all jump scares either.
No.
Okay, she's going around the corner, he's going to jump out at her, whatever. It wasn't like that. The suspense came from not knowing when he's going to come up behind you, that kind of thing. I really thought that the first Halloween was put together really, really well.
Oh yeah.
And that's the really amazing thing about the first Halloween in particular. And I'm gonna pop this comment up here real quick from Jedi Bill. I'm a horror film rock star. I might just have to change to being all about horror movies. Hey, it's definitely a genre that has a lot of space to play around in.
Yeah.
But this movie really plays with your mind. It really seeks to turn the screws on you and really mess with your head and everything, because you see the villain at the beginning, but you don't really see him.
Right.
Per se.
You know he's there. You know he's planning on going home because Dr. Loomis says so. You see him driving around in that station wagon. Then you see him, showing himself and disappearing again. That kind of thing. It's just beautifully done.
Yeah.
Because you're following all the other characters at the same time. So you got character development in the victims. And then you also have this scary thought of what's going to happen later on in the movie. Holy cow.
Yeah. Totally.
And all you take from it are coveralls and a mask.
Yeah, and true.
Yep.
By Moira K. Moira, I don't know if you remember. I did send you a link just in case you wanna join us or anything. So she brings up the second Halloween could have been better because he stabbed that nurse with a scalpel. He lifted her up off the ground, and the scalpel couldn't have been able to handle that. Yeah, that was a little bit beyond believability.
Oh, yeah.
But even so, I said this and everything the other night on another stream. You don't necessarily love a thing because it's perfect. You love it in spite of its flaws.
True.
And I think the reason why I wanted to review these two movies together is because it is just one long story, and it was done that way because the second person, Rick Rosenthal, who directed this one, John Carpenter did produce, but he did not direct because I don't know if he just didn't have a name. A comment that he made during in the commentary was, I didn't feel like doing the second one because I feel like the story had already been told. There wasn't anything else to really tell. And I do get what he's saying.
Yeah, this was the age of the sequel, and Hollywood was ashamed of making sequels, but they made sequels because it paid the bills.
Motor is making me laugh right now. What hot tub has a boil setting on it?
See, Maura has seen this movie so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I know how I know how she feels though. I'm a Trekkie, so you do that with all the Trek films and TV shows. But I just kind of go with it, because they had probably in the second movie they thought they had to be a bit more creative when it came to the killing. I mean, this first one, all he needed was that butcher knife.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, pretty much.
But you can see the difference in the first and second one. The first one was all about suspense and building up to that that part where Michael Myers starts killing. The second one, well, there ain't no suspense in it. He starts killing immediately, and you just got to roll with it. And then the killings get more and more ridiculous toward the end. You've also got the whole he's not running but she is, and then jump scare around a corner and stuff like that. And it's just, it was not as well done, I don't think.
No, and CC, those are all valid criticisms on everything. I'm not gonna say what you're saying isn't wrong. It's your perspective. It's fair. Personally, I guess maybe it's because this was the first one that I saw in sequence, and then I went back and watched the first one. And because I watched it backwards, I'm like, okay, I want to see what happened before, so I finally was able to get a copy. This is back during the age of Blockbuster, when Blockbuster was still a thing. Jeez, I feel old, but I'm not old.
Yeah, that's not. The Blockbuster thing, that's not been that far back in the past, okay?
Yeah, it's really not that far back.
So don't feel too bad. I bought quite a few DVDs from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Less than 10 years ago. So
well, and Moira brings up, and the doctor was drunk. I mean, holy crap! I've never seen a hospital that badly lit at any hour of the night. Moira, you need to get in here. Come on, girl. You're being just as interactive. You might as well just use the link I sent you and come on in, kid. Jeez.
Yeah, you're the expert on this.
You're besides me, you're the other expert. I'm not saying Cece and Londell don't know their stuff. They do. Come on, lady. Get in here. Not trying to be a pushy jerk or anything, but come join the fun. If it helps, I'll go on camera.
Now, the story itself for Halloween 2 was just fine.
Oh, yeah. The story was good.
But, Loomis getting all excited and not knowing that Michael Myers is 6.5 feet tall versus a 17-year-old boy walking across the street. And what cop drives 80 miles an hour down the street and can't hit his brakes in order to stop a kid from getting barbecued?
a small town cop.
I guess.
Okay, and Moira, that's perfectly fine. No worries. Just get in here when you're able to. So, yeah, honestly, this. Okay, I'm gonna tell a funny story from my childhood, which I do this on occasion. Back when we still had cable and everything, I was like 18 years old, 17 or 18 years old at the time, and we had TBS, Turner Broadcast Station, and they were running horror movies one night. And me and my mother, we were watching Halloween 2 on the TV. And back in those days, they had the parental guide. This movie may contain violent content, which may not be suitable for all viewers. Parental discretion is advised. Yada yada yada. Jeez, I do that entirely too well. But anyway, they're at a commercial break. I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, you want another soda? She's like, yeah, give me another Coke. I was like, okay. So I go through to the kitchen and get another Coke. And they do the whole thing, the whole spiel, blah, 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 blah. And just as I'm coming from the kitchen and I hear that, and I walk into the living room and I look down at the TV and I say, no shit, Sherlock. Now, here's the funny thing. I was in high school, obviously. I look down at that, I say that, and then I freeze because my mother says, oh, really? I'm like,
uh-oh.
Did I say that? I was like, I closed my eyes. I was like, did I say that out loud? She's like, yes, you did. I'm like, sorry. She's like, you're an adult now. I don't care. But that was the first time I actually cussed in front of my mother. First time ever in my life that I cussed in front of my mom.
No wonder you like Halloween 2. You've got a lot of memories associated with it.
Well, unlike some of the other movies that we've talked about, I've never gotten the chance to see it on the big screen or anything because they've never done a big screen re-release or whatever. So, but this, yeah, it's honestly, for me, these two movies together create what I call the duo of diabolical. It is a truly horrific set of films. Everything, and it tells, in my opinion, a complete story. You can stop right at Halloween 2 and you don't have to watch any of the others. And I don't. Usually, the only one that I saw and everything after Halloween 2 that I actually wanted to go see actively was H2O, Halloween 20 years later. Everything with Jamie Lee Curtis when she was somewhat older.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater as well.
And yeah, she was at that private school or whatever it was, and it had Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams and Adam Arkin.
Mm-hmm.
And that one I loved. Now, that one I really, really enjoyed and everything.
That one doesn't exist anymore because they made that reboot, 2 years ago? So that one doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, the one.
Well, that one, it kind of got bad reviews, I think.
Oh, the one that they did a couple of years ago where it was Halloween and then they skipped all the other ones and they just went to the next one. And Laurie's been spending all these years and years and years preparing for her brother's return, essentially. Huh. I never saw that. I wanted to, but I never got the chance to see that one, unfortunately.
No, I didn't bother going to see it. Of course, I'm not a huge horror fan. I'm really not. Horror comedy is more my thing. So if you've got a goofy looking monster who makes me laugh, I'll watch that.
Yeah. But this was, I guess, this entire genre between the big three, Freddy, Jason, and Michael. I
Mhm.
think it just kind of killed itself in the 90s.
Unfortunately, yes, that is sad, but very, very true.
Especially the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah. Now, I will say for myself, I always liked Michael better than Freddy or Jason. Because, okay, Jason rarely ever spoke. Michael never, ever spoke. And Freddy couldn't
too much.
Freddy couldn't keep his damn mouth shut.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, sequels did kill the horror movie genre in a lot of ways. It took a long time for it to recover, if you consider it's recovered now. But John Carpenter and Rick.
Wes Craven.
Wes Craven and everything. John Carpenter and Wes Craven. And the guy who wrote directed like the first two Halloween films, or not Halloween, but Friday the 13th films. They captured lightning in a bottle. And just real quick to the chat, the True 31 brings up a great point. Even though Halloween 2 falls short of the original, I feel it's a perfect companion to the original. Also, Carpenter drinking a 6-pack of beer, writing Halloween 2 will always be funny. Yes, it will. And True 31, thank you for being here. But it's been a while. I'm very glad to see you. Hope you've been doing well yourself. So
only a 6-pack.
5 beers in is when he came up with the idea that Laurie Strode is his brother or sister.
Huh. Oh, okay.
Well, and I think for myself, the thing that I really appreciated about Halloween is the fact that, well, something we haven't touched on, I think we need to, is the fact that John Carpenter, he often scored his own movies, and he did such a great job. I mean, you play the first 3 bars of the Halloween film, and your blood starts to run cold.
Oh, so he wrote that. Okay. Because
for every film that John Carpenter ever directed, he did his own music, and he was good at it.
Yeah, that Halloween theme that's one that you will always remember. It's up there with the original Twilight Zone
and Jaws.
Yeah. Probably Magnificent Seven. Yeah.
Although Magnificent Seven is more of a Western than it is a horror movie, but yeah.
I meant recognizable. Oh
yes.
You hear the music, you immediately know the name where it came from. That's what I was trying to get at.
Oh, okay. I got you, Mr. Lundell. I got you. And the other interesting thing about this, you know what? I'm gonna stop for a minute, guys. What's something about these two that you want to talk about, or anything in relation to it? Because again, I feel like I'm monopolizing the conversation. I don't like that. Call me crazy.
No, it's fine. What did I say? I already said something that I liked about them. So it works for me. I like the way you're hosting the show. It's going really well.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I'm kind of working off of some of the things you say.
Okay. All right. Well, something else that I discovered when I was doing research for these was the fact that this was actually this movie was the inspiration for a lot of other slasher films in the same genre. For particular, Friday the 13th. Let's see, what was some of the others that Carpenter had mentioned? He said Friday the 13th. He also said the fact that a lot of the 80s slasher flicks were inspired by Halloween, the first one. And he almost laments the fact that the slasher, the horror movie, the slasher movie genre has been kind of ruined by all the sequels that's been done. But something that Jamie Lee Curtis said and everything in her audio commentary, and even in the documentary, was the fact that if she had not gotten this role, if it hadn't been successful, she would have been basically stuck. Because if you think about it, and here is Moira. Good evening, ma'am.
Meow.
Meow. Good to see you, ma'am. Glad you're here.
Nice
I'm
to
sorry.
be here.
I hope I wasn't pestering you. I know you've been kind of.
No. I've had way worse. Believe me.
I
I've had
know.
worse. At least you were wanting to hang out with me,
Well, of course.
or me hang out with y'all. You know what I mean. So I mean, if I'm going to be
Well,
pestered, at least it's in a positive way, and someone wants me around. You know.
well, Moira, okay, I'm gonna go on camera for this. Moira, I think everybody in the chat and the three of you that are here will say this about me, and I'm not saying this for y'all to brag on me. I don't blow smoke up people's backsides, and I'm not disingenuous. If I say I want you around, it means I want you around.
Oh, I know. I didn't say that you were pretending. I'm saying, like, considering some of the nastiness I've gotten, having someone poke at me in a positive way is definitely welcome. Like, it's like, don't apologize for come on, you know? That's way more friendly than what I had the other week. Like, this week's been okay so far. It's probably because I've blocked so many Twitter and YouTube accounts. Like, I even tunneled in through to YouTube accounts to other people's channels, looked at the list and took out suspects and blocked so I would at least not have to see it, you know?
I hear you.
Because
I hear you.
I'm not going to name names because I don't want him to get in trouble, but he's part of that group, but he doesn't participate in that behavior. And he's like, stop giving them attention, stop looking at them. Don't waste your oxygen on these people. It's not mentally healthy for you. That was the advice he gave me, and that was one of the friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I found out sadly that if you block someone from your channel, they can still see you, which I was really upset. I had a sense of security that they couldn't at least, take pictures of my streams and make fun of it. But I apparently am wrong. Apparently they just can't talk on your channel. I'm like, oh my God, what is the point of blocking someone if they can still see your shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
I really feel like that should be an option because I actually felt bullied. They made fun of some of my content and I actually took it down. Like, that's how bad it was. I felt so stupid that I deleted like 2 playlists.
Oh, Moira.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're obviously talking about Halloween and Halloween 2, so I know you've offered some insight in the chat, but what's something about these two that you love? What's something about these movies that you appreciate?
Oh my goodness. It's a tough one. It does frustrate me that every time he's shooting and he's down and you look over the balcony and shit, he's gone. Like, that drives me nuts. Like, I know it's just looks like what I appreciate about movies is when you can actually tangibly get the bad guy and actually stop him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, otherwise it feels like it's almost an ending. But I like its consistency in it too, though. Like, you can always count on more of this. It's not really cheesy per se. It's like it's almost cheesy. It's not quite, but like So, like I used to. I've always had insomnia ever since I was a kid. So I'd be watching USA Up All Night, and man, especially around this time of year, USA Up All Night. Yes, Rhonda Shear and Gilbert Gottfried had all the good movies on, and I was like, yes. Oh, what? Jason Takes Manhattan? I think I will. Thank you. You know.
Yes.
Ooh, Halloween. Oh, let me grab a snack. Yes. So like, and even when it wasn't like, it was like Friday the 13th. In April, you can guarantee USA was going to play those movies, and I was like,
yes,
like
yeah,
love it.
and life
I
was
just
good.
watch it over and over again because there's a comfort in something that you can expect, something that's predictable. I like the predictability. There's a comfort in that. I don't like things that mess with your head, like the movie The Mist. Oh, that pissed me off when he had to kill his own son and then gave up and was ready to die, and that's when the military showed up. I was so mad. No, that pissed me off. Like, no. How do you even live after something like that? That was a terrible ending. I like predictability. I like either the bad guy is going to come back or he's not. Not this messed up mind screwing shit. I don't like that. I don't find comfort in that. Movies, huh?
No, go ahead.
But these movies, you can watch them again and again, and you'd be like, "Oh, wait, here comes that!" Oh, and then you're like, "Oh, that scalpel would totally broke. There's no way it would have held her weight." And make fun of it a little bit. Still have your little surprise because oh, I forgot that scene. Oh, but there's a comfort in it, and I like that. So you can kind of be a little bit scared, but not like viscerally freaked out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like when we watch the old classic black and whites with like Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff and Lon Chaney and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would even call and if y'all disagree with this, that's okay. Yep.
Oh, you can't really see Frankenstein. Apparently, looks really weird in that background. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Moira. No worries. I would consider. Send me pictures later. I myself would consider Michael Myers a modern horror icon. Truly. Because think about it.
Where do we draw the line on modern? Like, I'm not trying to be a fussy butt. It's just that
no.
The original Halloween came out in like 78.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it came out in October of 78. It's exactly as old as I am. It's 42 years old.
I remember. I thought maybe 77, 78. I couldn't quite remember.
78.
So there's people like my age or younger that might not consider that modern, but like,
I would say anything from like 1970 to like 1999 to be modern. That's what, because
what about you had 1990?
There aren't any good horror movie icons anymore.
Scream was not bad. That
okay. It was.
The more of them they made, the worse they got. But so I'm not saying that, but it was a different twist on things. Instead of being a horror movie, it was a horror movie based on horror movie rules. It kind of broke like a fourth wall feel to it. Like this and so I can appreciate it for that. Like the first and the second one were okay, but after that it started kind of
well, honestly, and we can discuss this next week because we're doing for the final night of Wicked Wednesdays. We're doing a Scream watch party for the simple fact that Scream and Halloween flow into each other so very well, and they do because there's so many parallels. If you really watch one and then you watch the other, and you're like, "Oh, I see what Wes did there," and he kind of pulled a little something away from John. He kind of took something from John Carpenter.
Well, yeah, because I can kind of see that because like Scream was picking different rules that you shouldn't break from those different movies.
Truth 31 brings up a good one. Jamie Lee's wig in Halloween 2 was more terrifying than the entire film.
I think that was her hair, actually. I think that was legit her hair.
I think that was actually her hair. I'm pretty sure that was her hair. I could be wrong.
I don't know. My hair looks like shit as it is, so I don't know how good my hair is going to look after I've been chased by a serial killer for like a day and a half. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not gonna be looking good either. I'm gonna be looking rough.
No, I would consider now for myself. I like the first 3 Scream movies. I thought the first 3 were good. I did see the 4th, but I didn't care for it too much.
Okay, I'm trying to remember because I know Scream 1 was like the boyfriend and the friend, and then Scream 2 I think was college.
Yes,
what was the third one?
The third
Oh,
one
wait, it's
was
the brothers you didn't know about.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that
The
was a
Lost
shit
Brother.
show. The third one was kind of a shit show. The
Ah,
college
honestly-
one wasn't bad. The college one wasn't bad. Although I really did feel bad that the guy from Sliders ended up just about dead. Did he? I think he did end up dying, didn't he? Or almost dead.
Yes. Yeah. No, he died.
Yeah, see, I was so sad because she was like, do I trust this boyfriend? Not. Yes. No. Oh, wait, I can't. Oh, and he's gone. I was like, God dang it. I was really sad to see him go.
Well, honestly, for
he
me,
made me love that song from the Partridge Family. Remember when he gets up on the table to declare his love for her in the cafeteria? He goes,
I think I love you.
I love you, so what am I so afraid of? Yeah, I love that. That made me want to look that song up. I like that.
Yeah.
He made me love that song.
Well, and here's the crazy thing, and I think everybody knows the story behind the mask at this point. Maybe Cece and Mr. Lundell don't. That was actually that was a Captain Kirk mask. It was a Captain. All they did was.
Oh wait, from Halloween?
Yeah.
How in the world do they think that's?
No, that is Shatner's face.
I'm not saying it's not supposed to be. I just don't know how anyone who designed it thought that. Like,
basically,
nothing
one
like
of the it kind of does, but not exactly.
Yeah, like
but what
they dead maybe.
But here's the funny thing. Michael Myers, for the Michael Myers mask, somebody on the crew and everything, Carpenter told them, go get a Halloween mask, and the person picked out a Captain Kirk mask of all things, and they're like,
goodness. What the shit?
Basically, all they did with the mask was that they cut the high holes bigger. They took off the sideburns. They painted the mask extra white, and then they just kind of
all that. Then you got a totally different mask. Then okay.
Yeah, exactly, because they wanted to look like somebody that
had a Corte right off the rack, looking like that. Oh, thank you, Truth 31. Truth 31 is excited about my Sliders reference, and you are welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Or ma'am, I don't know. I don't.
No, Truth is a guy.
Okay, that's Truth 31. That could go either way.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to misgender anybody.
And Truth is an awesome guy, folks, and really cool guy. As all these people on my panel this evening are, I'm gonna have to holler at Superior Hero. He was supposed to be here tonight. He ain't here, and I've emailed him, and I'm not mad at him, but I'm like, dude, what the heck? He's supposed to be here.
Superior Hero. That motherfucker sounds like he should be here with a cape on. Where is he?
Yeah. His channel's called Superior Hero Reviews. He's a really cool guy. Now, last week he wasn't here because his internet was out.
Okay, I can understand that. I can see that being a problem.
Yeah, I've seen that happen, and I'm just gonna have to fuss at him a little bit. Like, dude, uncool, but we're still friends. I still love you. We're still friends. He was here last.
I just want to send hugs to Truth of 31, though. Like, I have a warm fuzzy for anyone who also has a warm fuzzy for the concept of time travel and or multiverse.
Yes.
Yes, the multiverse.
Hey, imagine a multiverse where Michael Myers is the victim and Laurie Strode is the killer.
Right?
I could see that.
Well, I don't know. Like, how old was Laurie? Wait, how old was Laurie when he did this? Because she had Michael Myers is supposed to be her older brother, and it was his older sister he killed, and so he was like 5. So like, how old was she? Like, was she like?
Let's see.
She wasn't born. I feel like she's just in the game. You know what I'm saying?
In the first one, he's 21 years old, so minus 15 years.
Oh yeah, because he's 21, and so she's in high school, so she's probably 16, 17, and her character is.
Yeah, roughly. And just
So-
real quick to the
And if he was 5, she might have been on the brink of being conceived or born. So she wasn't even possibly alive when those murders took place, which means I feel like she should not be fair game for this.
She should be 2 years younger than him.
It's called suspension of disbelief, guys. It happens. And
So
just real quick,
No, I believe in proper timelines.
He was 6 and she was 4, but she had already been adopted out by the time he did the murder for his 16-year-old
Why in the world would
sister.
she be adopted out, though? Like, they seemed like they had a decent-looking house in a well-to-do neighborhood. What the fuck did they had to put her up for adoption for?
Oh,
who knows?
It seems like legit. I feel like these are legit questions. Now that we're talking about this,
Okay.
well,
just
they
real
are
quick,
legit questions. I just don't have answers for them.
Yeah.
well, I
And
don't
just real
necessarily expect everyone to have answers. I just want to bitch about that part. I didn't know I had these questions before because when I watch a movie, I usually just try to watch it at face value and enjoy it for what it is, and
That's okay.
And so, like, now you got me all breaking this down. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Was she even born? That's bullshit. Hold on.
And just real quick to the chat, Keely Chow, good evening, sir. Good to see you as always. And Keely, well, I'm doing okay. I will not speak for my panel. I'll let the panel speak for themselves. So
I've been worse.
I've definitely
That's your motivational speech for the day. I've had worse.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I've had worse than what you're going through because, well, I went through a divorce.
I've been married twice. Trust me, that's so much fun.
I only made that mistake once.
I wasn't super smart.
Well, these things happen.
I have since learned my lesson, and I'm not getting married.
Well, okay, here's something that I did want to bring up, and I'm kind of talking about something that Carpenter, one of his motivations for this movie was to create something that was the personification of evil, because the way he wrote Dr. Loomis's dialogue, he didn't want him to refer to Michael as a person. He always wanted to
Right?
refer to it as
Wasn't.
no, he was like an unstoppable force. He was like
Well,
a
at that
force
time,
of
didn't
nature.
really know he was super unstoppable force at that point because he had been in mental institution, not spoken since he was 5. So
Yeah.
he hadn't killed anyone. They hadn't had a reason to try to kill him. So he hadn't shown himself to be an unstoppable force at that juncture. But like he could probably suss out that there was something about him that just wasn't there.
That
Should have
was,
been, like you and I have. Like there was something missing or whatever, something empty. So I think like in regards like how one would define a human as someone who's capable of like thought processes and emotions. I think at that time he probably meant in that regard.
yeah, that was.
I mean, he ended up being right. He's totally not human, obviously, but still.
See, that was the point he was trying to make about Michael until he killed 3 or 4 people.
And then other people realized, he can be a human body with an indwelt spirit. I mean, because we see that in one of the later movies where the druids are trying to indwell someone with a spirit, and I guess they got transferred to Michael Myers, but it doesn't really matter anyway.
We're not focusing on the sequels. The sequels do not exist. The sequels are not canon.
I'm so sorry for this, CCDV, but that's weird. He doesn't look Druish.
She went there. She did it. She went there, folks.
She did it. She did it.
Odd. He doesn't look Jewish.
If I can sneak in a Spaceballs reference, I will, even in the middle of a Halloween stream, because I'm
every time.
Every time.
Every time I hear someone say druid, I immediately like.
Funny. She doesn't look
guy.
Jewish.
He's a weird one. And he said he was descended from druids, and I fucking threw that one on the table, and my dad about lost it. He was like, "Oh shit." And he was like, because like my parents already weren't taking him seriously. So about 5 minutes after he opened his mouth, and I'm sitting here like, oh Jesus, dude, like you're like Scottish Irish. Shut the hell up, just stop, you know. But I threw that one on the table, and he was just like, what? Which made it even better because he didn't get my reference, and I'm like, so I had to explain it to him, and he's just like, jeez. So.
And the truth, I did actually mention that I didn't like the fact that they turned her into his sister. I did mention that earlier, but we didn't really go deep into it or anything. But I think that was a really bad plot twist. I didn't like it.
Honestly,
I don't understand why. Like, I mean, like
they needed a reason for him to target her.
Well, yeah, but I don't see why it's a problem. Because I mean, it's not really cool to go stalking and killing people in general, but it didn't stop him from killing like nurses, doctors, cops, like. So it didn't really matter. So
he basically killed anyone he came across. So
right. So I'm not sure why.
There was people between him and killing his sister.
I could understand him going after her because she was the one who got away.
But she wasn't even there. She had not even been born.
But turning her into a sister, that was I didn't like that. I thought that was dumb.
Why is turning her into a sister the problem? Like I'm confused somewhere.
Well, she grew up in the Strode house. It was never mentioned in the first movie. It was used as a twist at the end of the second movie, and so I thought it was stupid.
Well, they needed, look at all the questions the first movie left out there. Why is this guy going after her? All he's got to do is pick somebody and kill him.
Right.
Target her.
So he targeted her when he drove past in the station wagon.
Well, it's
isn't that enough motivation?
Maybe he was out to kill all members of his close family. Maybe his mom and dad were already deceased at the time. So so that could be it. But I'm not sure why everybody's upset that it's his sister.
It
doesn't bother
me.
It's
just some kind of romantic interest in her. Then that would have been fucking weird. But
the question is, why is he slaughtering his family? What is it about his family that he has?
That's something they should have touched on. Like someone a long time ago in the family done something stupid and it was a curse on the family. That at least would have given us some backstory on why.
That would have been something.
And that's possible. Right. That's what happened. Somebody back when did something really dumb. So at some point, somebody was going to be born that would destroy the surviving members of the family. I could get behind that theory, but they didn't really discuss that concept.
Well, I mean, sometimes the simplistic answer is the easiest. He was pissed because he got put in a mental institution for the majority of his life, and he wanted revenge.
But she didn't do it to him.
He did that to himself.
She did.
He killed his older sister and her boyfriend. Remember? That's what started this.
No, he didn't kill the boyfriend. He just killed the sister. He didn't kill the boyfriend. The boyfriend left before he went after
the boy. No, yes, right, because the boyfriend was like, she was like, "Will you call me later?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." So he had what he wanted. He left. So when she was there brushing her hair, that's when he got her.
And during the commentary,
I was like, "He ain't gonna call you tomorrow, honey."
Well, and funny thing, Jamie Lee Curtis makes a comment as the boyfriend's walking down the stairs, and she calls the guy a pig because to her that was the quickest sex scene she had ever seen.
Right? It was quick sex scene, and when she was like, "Will I hear from you later?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And I'm like, "Ouch! Your phone ain't gonna be ringing, girl."
But I think honestly, sometimes the most simplistic answer is the best. I think if you muddy it up, now I get what you're saying. Why is he going after the other sister? Well, in his deranged mind, his entire family's at fault for him being put in the mental institution. So he's going after all the family he can find. He's like, I'm going to kill both my sisters. And eventually I'm going to kill my mom and dad. For all we know, he may have already killed mom and dad.
I don't know. If they were approximately 35 to 40, well, their daughter would look like she's about 17 in the beginning of the movie when she got killed. So they would have to most likely, unless they started super early, would probably be in their 40s. So then you add 21 years later, they'd be in their 60s. And so it's quite possibly they have already passed on, possibly, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, car accidents, things, just whatever happens. And so yeah, they never mentioned them at all. So maybe, I mean, you would think since she was put up for adoption, her last name changed, she'd have been harder to find than the parents, technically. So
Yeah, but somehow or another, he figured out where she was doing, and everything, and he went after her. So
right.
And
Like,
he just happened.
I don't know how you
Well,
manage
and
that.
now here's the thing. What's the best way to screw with somebody that you're wanting to get revenge on? Go after the people around them.
Well, yeah,
So who does Michael kill?
all
He
her friends.
kills all of her friends, the friends of their friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just now let's be candid here. He never says a word in the first two movies. Not
I don't think he says it ever.
well, yeah, that's true. But you can almost see the wheels inside his head turning, and that is what is truly frightening.
Yeah, that is weird
Because-
because he kind of tilts his head, like,
Well, he only does it that once.
Well,
After
I know,
he,
but but like, yeah, but it's like I'm saying, he still expresses like, how can I do this? And not even technically see his face, but like that's you can tell his expression. It's weird.
but you can't even see the expression per se. But it's like, okay, has everybody in here seen V for Vendetta?
Are you kidding? I
Yeah.
want that guy tattooed on me. Are you shitting me?
Okay, Guy Fawkes. Okay, it's kind of
Yeah,
like that.
I have two
Same-
masks and the quote, one of the quotes on tattooed on my chest. Like, no kidding.
okay.
Sorry.
Same principle. Even though the main, well, not the main, well, yeah, V is the main character, and you could technically say that Michael Myers is the main character. Even though you never see the main character's face, depending on the lighting angle and everything of the mask and how it's shot, you would almost think there's an expression on that mask, even though there actually isn't. And that right there is one of the things that makes Michael Myers, at least in my opinion, truly terrifying.
I do like that
because William
he has
Shatner-
zero fucks given. Like, you can't negotiate, you can't reason with it, you can't hardly stop it. You can't see. Sometimes what we can't see is worse than what we can see,
Exactly.
and so I totally feel you on that.
That's
Well, now-
because William Shatner is such a good actor.
I'm sorry. I'm right now picturing CCTV being like Family Guy, who's doing that little twitch, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm picturing CCTV doing Family Guy version of William Shatner in my head.
I know what you're talking about, Maury. Yeah.
Oh, good. You know, and it's just weird.
I may not be putting the
I can
Pauses
hear him moving.
or-
I can hear him moving.
emphasis on the correct syllables, but William Shatner is one of the best.
And it's weird because, like, for some reason, God only knows what the hell happened, but I ended up seeing, like, the first episode of Star Trek for some reason. I'm not sure what happened. I'm not really a Trekkie type. Nothing against them, it's just not my thing. But I noticed in, like, the first episode or two, he didn't do that. But after that, his speech pattern changed, and he started sounding more like that. And I was like, so he wasn't always like this? What the fuck? Who the fuck did he start doing that?
He would ham it up at times.
Oh
Like the
yeah.
first episode or so, he didn't do that. Then after that, he did, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute." That
They're
was
like
weird, though.
there are like 3 or 4 episodes where he does this dramatic speech, and
Right?
that's really where that started. You know, he would the one where he was explaining the Constitution to the cavemen.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because they kind of remembered some bits of it. I think they had like a piece of a flag up, and they knew, and part of their chant was part of the Constitution or something. They didn't remember all of it, and so he knew the rest of it, and they were like, "Whoa."
It's
Yeah, it's been exaggerated over time, but I mean,
at? I remember that episode vaguely, because I was sitting here like, I wonder if that's gonna be us in a couple hundred years. Like, holy crap!
I hope not.
Trying to shred the Constitution, but this is not a political stream, so I won't.
That way.
No, let's keep. There's enough people out there talking about politics. I don't want it here, if at all possible. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anywho, back to our slasher person.
Yes.
He never got creative with the killing as much as Friday the 13th.
Killing somebody with a hot tub is impressive. I just didn't know they went to those temperatures. I'm like, really? The skin boiled off her face in like a minute or two? Like, really?
Right,
How hot does that shit get?
What kind of hot tub is that? I mean, even steam kettles don't heat up that fast.
And at that temperature, it would have been steam. It wouldn't have been water. If it was hot enough to take your flesh out, it would be steam. It wouldn't be water.
Yeah, that's where I was like, really? That's how, huh? Like, drowning? Because when I first saw that, I thought he was going to drown her. And I'm like, okay, that's legit. And then, like, she was all
well, technically he did.
Hanging off. And I'm like, what?
Technically, he did drown her.
Well, he did both. He was kind of waterboarding her, kind of, into the boiling hot water. But she was in and out of that water. She was struggling. And so, like, but apparently, like, it was hot enough to make, like, half her cheek come off. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, what is the boiling temperature for something like this? I don't want that hot tub.
Well, the thing you have to remember, too, that's a medical grade hot tub, so it can get hotter than a normal hot tub can.
Medical grade, like, what kind of ailment does someone have that you need that temperature high? Like, why is that an option? Oh, this person's got too much skin, doctor. We're going to take some of it off.
I don't know. It's a horror movie. Why does it matter?
Well, I don't know. Why are we breaking it down and nitpicking it then?
We're not nitpicking it.
Oh, sorry. Well, you wanted me on here because I was nitpicking the fact that the scalpel wouldn't hold her weight and all that, and then, like, the hospital be badly lit. I have never been in a hospital that was lit that badly, ever. It could be 4 o'clock in the morning and it'll be bright as daytime in there.
It's a horror movie. It's not supposed to be real life.
Yeah, you can't have good lighting in a horror movie. You might see the makeup.
Then why are we talking about it if it's just a movie? Why are y'all unhappy that he was going after his sister for no good reason? It's
because he wanted revenge.
Why? Because she wasn't born or something?
I just didn't like that they made her his sister. That's all. Yeah. That's the only part I didn't like.
Moira, I'm goofing with you.
Yeah.
I'm goofing with you. It's a joke.
She takes her slasher movies serious.
And y'all wanted me up here for that? You were like, hey, you're like, watch this movie way too many times. Get up here.
Moira, it's a joke. I'm joking with you. Okay.
Yeah.
You are not actually a cat.
How dare you? I would pee in your shoe if I knew where you were.
I can't believe you just assumed her species.
Thank you.
Cece. Shut up.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Moira went off camera. We're doomed.
Yep.
That's okay. I can do that too. And see.
Yeah, but mine is scarier.
No, mine's scarier.
My camera stopped working a couple of days ago, so
it was
I
like John Wick of her time.
Think Michael Myers.
Yeah, but mine was real.
Yeah, but Michael Myers is the John Wick of horror movies.
No.
Yeah, because
he does not have that kind of finesse and style. No.
Yes,
Don't
he
you-
does.
Don't you say that about John Wick like that.
Oh, I'm not disrespecting John Wick. I'm just saying Michael Myers is very John Wick-esque.
That's something I'm not going to try to say 5 times fast.
What, John Wick-esque?
Yeah,
You could do it.
because he kind of said John
You
Wick
can
and
do
then like
it.
had to correct it.
John Wick-esque. Ugh. It's kind of hard on the throat.
Yeah,
Hard
It
on
would
the
come out
mouth
as
in general.
whiskus, wouldn't it? It would come out as whiskus if I did
Yeah.
it 5 times fast.
no, knowing you, CC, it would probably be John Wick-esque.
John Wickish, John Wickish, John Wickish, John Wickish. Oh, holy shit.
Oh man.
I don't believe it.
Oh. Whew. Well, and the other cool thing about this, to get us back on track at least a little bit, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Carpenter made a very interesting comment about this character of Michael Myers. We potentially, inside of all of us, deep in our subconscious, have the capacity to go down the road that Michael Myers has. And that's what is truly, truly, truly horrifying about this movie.
He's saying any one of us could be a Michael Myers.
We have that dark side to our personality, to our soul. Yes.
Yeah, except for the bulletproofiness part.
I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to lead into. But
Yeah. Well,
I don't think I have that dark of a patch in me.
You'd be
I'm not saying
surprised.
it's an absolute for everyone, but we all have that kind of primal aspect to our personality or to our nature, where we excuse me, sorry, it's been a long day.
Yeah,
Where we-
don't ever touch the dark side. Just don't do it. It is an unpleasant place to live.
I know. I've been there. It's not fun. But I think what exploring a movie like Halloween and the character of Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis and Laurie and everything, it gives us a space where we can go and we can kind of see that darker aspect of our nature and do so safely. Because the lights come up and we leave the theater or we turn the TV off or whatever it is. And we have been able to, for just a brief moment, go and visit that aspect of our person that we may not necessarily be comfortable doing in real life. And I think that's one of the truly remarkable things about the character of Michael Myers and these movies themselves. Not to mention, it shows how far a person will go to survive. I mean, for heaven's sakes, she stabs him with a knitting needle, and then she stabs him with a clothes hanger.
Yeah.
And with the butcher knife.
Yeah, and with the butcher knife. And she barely survives. But she still survives.
Yep.
But she is not the same after this experience. So,
Anything you find folks want to comment on anything I just said in regards to that?
The survival instinct is strong.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So I would say that quite a few people who had the opportunity would be able to turn out like Laurie.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's not always the case. And as far as exploring the dark nature of your own personality, if you can do it through a movie like this and safely turn it off when the movie is over, more power to you.
Yeah.
More power to you. I don't like living in that place, and I don't ever intend to do it again. So,
And that's perfectly fair.
But the dark side has cookies.
You would have said that. Hey,
No,
Moira,
sir,
you're
I
a
didn't
mess.
see you playing with your dolls again.
Yeah, but it's an interesting point, though, as you're referring to the dark side, you mean the sister's will to survive.
No, I was talking about the dark side, as in Michael Myers never came out of it.
Well, see, that's one of the questions for me
Mhm.
that first movie left, and there've been how many movies and they've not answered any of that. Okay. Why did this little kid go nuts in the first place? And
Like
what
anybody can go nuts, but what? Yeah,
Well,
I think it was. I think
but-
it's more
and
like the
then-
fourth or fifth one they discussed the fact that something took over him. I think,
yeah.
but
And
they're
what
still kind of on it.
Yeah. and I still want to know, what did this doctor see that he was like, this guy can never be out? Okay. If we can
Well-
kill him, we need to kill him now. Type,
Well,
where,
you know how they always say you got to watch out for the quiet ones. That fucker hadn't talked in like 20 years. I'd be worried too.
Mhm.
But like someone who, but yeah, I mean, it's possible depending on the like how deep the stab wounds, all those things. Hey, Nancy, all those things. It could indicate that even at 5 years old, he was stronger than any a 5-year-old should be able to be. Like not emotional in any fashion. I mean, these are all things that you would expect from a 5-year-old: to be upset, to be scared, to have something.
Yeah.
But for someone to out of nowhere just suddenly one day do this with no lead up, that's
Mhm.
a dangerous concept.
Yeah.
And so I can kind of see how he was like, this guy should never ever be allowed out ever, because from 5 on, like he just sat in a chair. I mean, they didn't even discuss if they ever saw him eat food or not. I mean,
Well, we would
there's-
you would assume he ate.
Well,
Well,
you think so, but like, I mean, none of the movies you see him stop and take a break. But what I'm saying is like they don't cover whether or not he ever like did any normal human behaviors of any kind, like eat or go to the bathroom or even look at somebody funny or anything.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was just completely vacant in there for 20 years. That right there would tell me there's something not human.
Well, and I want to address Truth's comment, and then I can actually I'll bring up something that Carpenter said. Truth says, "I love how Carpenter never really tells the audience on whether Myers is human or not. He always plants the seeds of doubt in our minds. Or maybe I'm looking into this too deep into this. No, Truth, you are not looking. You are your goal. That is a valid point to bring up. Truly,
spot on.
Well, at some point
Yeah.
he had to be human because he was born. So at some point he was
Well,
human.
Well, here's the thing. Carpenter
But what
told this
changed
story. Again, we don't know. We don't
No, I'm just
definitively.
saying, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Carpenter told this story when he sat down to write the first script for the script for the first Halloween. When he was still at USC, University of Southern California, they actually took a trip to a mental hospital or something along those lines, and he saw this young man, this young boy, who was just staring
And as everybody just walked by, he was just staring out the window, looking as everybody walked by his cell or his room or whatever it was. And Carpenter made these comments. It was almost like I was looking at pure evil. No conscience, no morals, no nothing. Just pure, undiluted evil. And that young boy and everything, because he actually asked one of the doctors what was wrong with that boy, and the boy was a schizophrenic. Like a violent schizophrenic. And that was his motivation, and that was his inspiration for the character of Michael Myers. So here's the thing. If a young boy, I think Myers said the kid was like maybe 9 or 10 years old, maybe a little bit older. If a kid of that age is a schizophrenic and has absolutely no moral compass, has no conscience, no nothing, then we all, to one degree or another, we can suffer some sort of trauma that will trigger that in us. So there may have been some sort of trauma that we don't know about. Obviously, that happened in Michael Myers' life, even at a very young age, that caused him to go off the deep end. So it's not as far-fetched as we may think. But that's why it's so frightening, but also why it's so thought-provoking.
Yeah.
That some sort of trauma happened to this young man that caused him to go kill his sister and then be driven to kill the remainder of his immediate family.
Well, it may not even be something traumatic. I mean, schizophrenia, that's a hormone, that's a imbalance.
Yeah, it's a chemical imbalance of sorts.
So
yes. Mm-hmm.
You can just have shit not wired right.
Yeah.
And one day it just sparked off and shorted out.
Yeah.
And it just snapped. He just snapped. And he went.
And since
he went.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Moira, please.
And since, like you say, like the movie leads, it just shows basically the start is the cameraman going into the house. The kid apparently was in the process of getting dressed for go trick or treating, so like a normal kid would. So he already had his costume on. So something after he put that costume on, something happened and made him just suddenly flip. Because I'm assuming they would have had him looked at and like locked up, or made mention that he'd been in and out since before he was 5, if he had ever shown signs of something wrong. So one could argue that maybe his sister, being kind of a hoe, maybe had some kind of traumatic influence on him, and he snapped and killed her, got locked up, and then maybe because he killed guys too, but the majority of his victims were female.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he could just assume that they were all kind of like that. And I remember the one girl he killed, he even put his sister's tombstone over on the bed. Like, where the hell do you go and just pick that thing up? Those things are heavy. But I just put it on the bed frame or on the headboard right above her. And so, maybe that was a way of indicating that he was killing his sister again and again and again and again.
Well,
and, of course, being extra pissed for being locked up until he's 21.
Essentially.
And who knows what kind of abuses or chemicals, like drugs, they were trying to jab in him. So there's no telling if it made him worse.
Well, we do. He was on Thorazine.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was because they had to make him on Thorazine, because they said that they were so scared of him, they wanted him almost overdosed to take him out of there, because they didn't know if he'd do something or not.
Exactly.
And that's pretty frightening when you have to almost kill somebody, overdosing them, just make sure they don't do nothing. Like, holy crap. That's when you really want. That's really those times when you wish the Zoom call was invented at the time. Let's just get a look at this guy. Yeah, nope.
So, but yeah, and that's the thing that's really amazing about this movie. I mean, yes, it's obviously we look at it as a horror movie, but if you think about it, in a lot of ways, this is a lot of ways in the same, as we have pointed out already, in the same vein as Psycho. It's a psychological thriller, and
Yeah.
it has a lot of psychological undertones to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's dressed up in a way that's entertaining and thought-provoking and iconic. But it shows what a psychotic break can do to a young man, a kid, that causes him to completely lose his moral compass and lose all sense of ethics. And that's frightening.
And he wasn't even mindless. Like, you could tell he planned things out. He thought things out. Like, he knew it would fuck with somebody's head to take his sister's tombstone and put it on that bed. That's totally gonna mess with somebody's head. And having like someone like up in the closet, like hung up in the closet, so when the closet door opens, that bit, not just killing them, but like going to the trouble of hiding them, finding ways to kill them, being patient enough to wait until he has the time to do it. Like the thought, so he has some wherewithal, but that seems to be all that there is dedicated to that concept. A predatory nature and nothing else. And he doesn't even have to worry about dying, so he doesn't even have to worry about like survival instinct.
No, he can pretty much just take any beating take any damage that comes his way, and he'll just get back up and keep going.
Which makes his planning even more dangerous because he can literally just do what he wants when he wants, and a bullet's just going to put him down for a couple of minutes and then he's back.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it like knocks him unconscious, if that's even half possible, because we don't know how he works and how he's wired, or like if it does kill him and he just somehow comes back, which would definitely indicate not human for sure, that something was keeping him alive. I mean, and I assume that is the case because there's quite a few times when he took hits that would have killed anybody, and he just rose right back up with no blood. I never saw him get shot and have blood, ever.
Well, in the second movie, you do see blood on him and everything on his hands. But I think that was actually a good move on the part of the production team and everything to give you the idea, yes, this guy is human. He does bleed red blood, but he's something other than human at the same time.
But after that, I don't think it ever showed blood again.
It may not have.
Because that's right. When she stabbed him with the freaking needle, he was kind of looking like, and there was like some blood showing. But after that.
No, actually, in Halloween 2, if you remember, when Laurie shoots him in the eyes, blood comes out of the eye hole.
That was what I knew it was somewhere in this region, somewhere that blood had. But yeah, but after that, I don't think he ever did. And what's interesting is that, like, the other movies would indicate that his eyes healed because one, he got shot in the eyes. That should have gone to your brain and everything.
Well, not only did he get shot, he got blowed up.
Well, okay, let's stick with the shot part. But in other movies, you see him going like this and looking, and it looks like he can still see. So, like, what in the world? Did his eyes heal back? Like, that's not human.
Apparently. And just real quick to the chat, my good friend Nick and everything. Nick, we're talking about the first two, the original and then the one that was done afterwards and everything. The original that was done in 78 and then the one that came out after that.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the Rob Zombie Halloween. We're talking about the real. Okay, I'm not gonna bash on Rob Zombie.
I'll say it. I like Rob Zombie, but I think he should stick to music.
I agree.
I'm sorry, folks, and I don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings.
No, we don't want we're not mean to disrespect on Rob Zombie. He's a very talented guy, but
I've liked him since like 1998.
Yeah. And as much as I like, what's his face? The guy that played Dr. Loomis.
Oh, Donald Pleasance.
I think it's with an accent though. Donald Pleasance or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it's quite pronounced, but yeah.
Oh.
That is Dr. Loomis.
What, Donald Pleasance?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the guy that played the guy that played Dr. Loomis in the remakes.
Oh, I didn't see that. I
Oh.
don't remember who the hell that was.
I know who it is, but I can't think of the actor's name.
Clockwork Orange.
Malcolm
McDowell.
McDowell.
Yeah,
Malcolm McDowell. Thank you.
Did Clockwork Orange. I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
God, that guy's
No, Nick. I didn't get. We're talking about the classics. We're not talking about anything more recent. And
We're
Nick,
talking about old people movies. Sorry.
well, Nick's only 10 years younger than me.
I'm just being silly anyway. And besides,
I know.
how am supposed to know?
I know. And
Nick.
Nick says, Rob Zombie movies are horrible.
Okay, good. I was afraid I had offended him. I was like,
No. Me and Nick actually went to college together. He's good people.
Oh, he's like, I feel old. Oh, I send you hugs. Oh.
Nick, shut up. You're 10 years younger than me. I don't want to hear it. No.
Wait, I don't remember how old you are.
I am as old as Halloween. How
I
old did
don't
we say
math.
Halloween? Okay. What year?
78, you're 42. Okay. The only reason why I know that is because I was born in 81. Chris was born in 79, and so I was mathing it from there. I said, okay. So I need some kind of timeline marker there for me. Okay, all right. So so he's younger than I am. Oh, good
No.
gracious! Be quiet, Nick. I'm 39, so I'm like, you be quiet, young man.
Yeah, Nick, shut up.
My knees crack and I'm on the verge of death. Oh, whatever. You're just so full of fluff. You're so full of fluff. There's not room at Build-A-Bear for all of it.
Nick.
Yeah, when he's got a bum ankle and knee from basic training that lets you know when the weather changes, that's when he's old. Okay.
Oh,
That's not necessarily true because I've known people in their
Mr.
20s, 30s that had
Lundell,
that.
bringing the
That's okay. Bum
Nick,
ankle and knee that I messed up in basic training. Okay, I know when the weather's about to change because I will start with the limps.
He's like, I'm not that far behind.
Nick, shut up. Folks that are in the chat, the only reason I'm talking to Nick this way is because we've gone through hell together, not literally but figuratively, obviously.
Well, we
We're
assume
both-
so, unless you've ascended as well.
This is not Stargate.
Oh, she's
I
bad.
was
I
making
got that
biblical humor.
reference.
I was making biblical humor, like, and you just took it to a nerdy place. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because I'm dirty and I'm a little bit nerd. I'm a lot nerdy and a little bit dirty.
You dirty?
I can be.
Yeah, with your wife. Dude, you were probably voted most likely to sell Bibles, okay? I don't mean that in a bad way. That's not a bad...
God mode engaged. Don't let Fully. He's really Nick. Now that is a. If I was
Oh, poor. See, now I feel bad for Nick, and I need it. Like, here, I'll give
no,
him a hug.
no. You don't show sympathy.
Nah, it's
See,
all right,
listen how
Nick.
unchristian you're sounding now. What the hey?
Nick, when your large fiber nerves are dying and you can't breathe because it's reached your diaphragm, you can come talk to me, okay?
Ouch! Bringing the Nick. I love you, man. You know that. Nick is
Have
like
him come
my.
up here. Come up here.
No way. I am not sending this. I am not sending him a link.
Why? What's wrong with him?
Nothing.
What did you say?
He's kind of shy. He doesn't get online.
Well, you
He's not
could
that-
offer something. Hey, I don't like leaving my house, but I like people to ask if I want to go somewhere. Makes me feel wanted. He goes, I ain't shy.
Nick, you ain't shy. You don't even have a girlfriend.
Oh, it could be by choice.
No, it's because he's picky.
You're picky.
It's
You're
because
making fun of me for being a cat. I'm a cat. That doesn't mean he's shy. It means he's picky. That's two different attributes.
He's picky.
That's not shy. That's picky. And he should be picky because humans are terrible. Why do you think I identify as a cat? Most people are awful. The whole human race acts terrible. Jeez, who wants to be associated with that? He's a ENFJ. What does that even mean? Let me on here to defend myself.
He's an extrovert. Let's see. That's the E. Feeling. That's the F. Judging. That's the J. But I can't remember what the N is. Let me.
Well, he wants to come up here and defend himself.
I don't think so, Mr. Bauer.
He has a right to face his accuser. That is like his Sixth Amendment right.
This is not a democracy.
No, it's a republic, Skippy.
This is not a republic either. This is an ambassadorship.
Oh, son of a bitch. Twitter me, man. I'll send you the link.
He's not on Twitter.
Oh, motherfucker.
Fine. I'll send the...
It's a dictatorship. That's cute.
Nick, we're no longer in the dorms. You can't use that word anymore.
Why not?
Because I'm married and I'm older than he is.
Okay, I don't know what you being married has anything to do with it. Him like not being able to use the term dictatorship.
I'm joking, Moira. It's a joke.
Meow.
Oh, meow yourself.
Meow.
Hold on, let me see.
I'm sure there's a lot of inside jokes between these guys.
Oh, you have no idea. All right.
Purr. He said, thank you, Maura. I'm like, purr.
All right, Mr. Bauer. You want to hear so bad? Just don't use my. Just don't you use my real name? I boot you.
I think you told me your real name a long time ago, and I forgot.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna tell you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Usually, when someone tells me like trust me with their real name, it like goes into the temporary folder, and it just leaves like a fragment of hey, this person trusts me enough with their name, and then like it dumps the file, and I don't know it. So I just remember that the person trusted me enough to tell me, but not actually remember the name. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of like my brain works like that, which is really handy for folks. Not necessarily for me, but for other people.
Run. The homecoming queen's got a gun. Everybody.
I hope you're not trying to do Aerosmith because you're doing it so wrong.
Yeah. Well, let's try to get back on topic here, if at all possible, while we wait for Mr. Bauer to drag his miserable carcass in here. DJ Nikki.
Poor boy. Oh.
Hello, everybody.
DJ Nikki.
Poor boy. Hey, handsome.
Hello there.
Don't encourage. Do not encourage him.
Wait. I should be careful. He doesn't have. You said he doesn't have a girlfriend. Okay. I don't want someone to get on the screen and start screaming at me. I'll be like, I'm sorry. Shit. Yeah.
Like watching the YouTube. Hold on, I'm gonna try like.
Huh?
Listen here, okay, Robert. I'm not too thrilled with you. Okay, you're like you're still single. That means you're really shy. That means nothing.
That's picky and shy are two different attributes.
Yes.
I mean, you can be both, but they're not the same
The
thing.
girls I've been around, they've been like exceedingly immature.
I think you're adorable.
Oh, thank you.
He can be when he wants to be.
He called me a noble steed.
He's just jealous because I got a better beard than he does now.
You have a mustache.
I can't do the top part very well. I've been
It's
trying for years.
okay. You know what? I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
It's called a goatee, and it's handsome, and it's majestic.
It's called a porn stash, dude. Sorry.
Got him.
Yeah.
So this Halloween side, I didn't mean to sidetrack this all about me. So the Halloween.
That is a goatee and mustache.
You look like you're gonna be a pirate.
I don't know what you guys are growing, but that is a goatee and mustache.
I got nothing. Yeah.
As you were saying, Mr. DJ Nicky Fresh, please don't use my real name again. I've been able to keep my anonymity for the most part. It's okay.
Okay, apologies.
It's okay.
You can't call him by his government name.
Oh, my bad.
No. Oh, why did I let you on here?
Because
Hey,
he's
man.
charming.
Aw,
Well, he is charming. He was my best man.
True story. I was
And
there.
he's one of my closest friends. Really
Robert,
is.
the ambassador. I didn't tell you here. I'm getting a new apartment here soon.
Awesome.
It's got.
He's getting a
I'm excited.
Huh? It's got
two
what?
Two stories to it.
Oh,
Ooh, fancy.
fancy schmancy.
I tried to get in at the. They built these new apartments here around, and
Mhm.
I asked like, "Hey, is there a way I can get in over there?" And they said, "Well, no, we'll let Forrest, who's one of our other workers, he gets first dibs, which is fair. He oversees them, the French quarters that we have. But man,
Nice.
the fancy.
Well, right on, brother. Good to hear that.
You have to come visit.
Hmm.
You have to come visit.
Well,
Check it out.
as soon as y'all get lifted from underneath the lockdown, I'll be more than happy to. Believe
I
me.
don't even know where y'all are, so.
And it's best that you don't know.
Well, how the hell is somebody supposed to visit if they don't know where the hell somebody is?
Because we know where each other is.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like he said y'all need to come see it.
Yeah, he meant me and Madam Ambassador.
Well, I didn't know because we're the only y'all I'm seeing.
He was talking to me. I'm the y'all.
Fine.
Did you have something you wanted to interject, Mr. DJ, about the about Halloween and Halloween 2?
I kind of walked in part way, maybe like 10 minutes ago.
It's okay.
I was watching I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with Red Letter Media. They were.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay? Red Letter Media was talking about the movie, like the recent, I say, sequel, even though it's labeled Halloween, but it's a sequel.
Yeah.
But they were noting how they really liked, and I think this is kind of like indicative of the character overall. That basically, like, the stories, like, Michael can just kill anyone. Like, there's not like a premeditated, like there's not really like this like deep drive kind of deal. It's that like he just kills to kill, and I think that's what like really intimidates people most about it, about Michael himself. I about to say Jason for some reason, about Michael. That he just essentially it's it's not like that's where I think people kind of got like frustrated as like the series went on. That's why the two originals are a little more well renowned, I think, because it just can happen to anyone essentially.
Yeah. And yeah, very valid point. Thank you. You get a gold star and a cookie. Put a little more. You're welcome. Okay, well, we're actually closing on 2 hours. I didn't expect it to go this long. So thank you, Nick, for that, as always. Here's the real mischief maker. Here's the real
liven things up a bit.
The poor guy's been on here 5 minutes, and you're blaming him for going over time. Like, what?
Well, I'm not blaming for anybody for going over.
It
I'm
was
glad-
pretty funny with him on here, though.
Mr. DJ Nicky Fresh is a very humorous guy. I speak from personal experience. There were many a night when I would return from class and I would be in a dreadful mood, and he could always cheer me up.
Aww.
Well, it's one of the reasons why he's one of my closest friends. He's one of the few people I keep in contact from college. As a matter of fact, there's only like 3 or 4 people I keep in contact from college.
More than me. I didn't like anyone I went to school with, really, so I didn't. Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, but a lot of people that were in school were trash, dude. They I know one of my bullies from school like is never gonna see the light of day. Like she committed murder and like at like 17 and like she will never get out.
wow.
Like,
okay.
Well, I was curious to see like, you know, like I wonder where they are now. So I was Googling it. I'm like, holy crap, you know. I'm like, oh snap! I'm glad that's a bully I never stood up to. Holy crap.
So essentially, it was let's see, Michelle Myers. It's Michael.
Well, I don't know the reason. I mean, it could have been like self-defense and she got a bad shake. I don't know. Like, I don't know the details of the case. I just know that she's in for murder for life. That's all I know. I mean, it could have been one of those things where she just came home one day and saw her boyfriend banging her sister and snapped and lost it. And it's not like she was a serial killer. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just know, dang.
Indeed. So. Whew. Well, guys, unless there's something else about these 2 films you want to discuss, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, honestly, because it's already been a long day for me. I've been up since 3:45 this morning.
Snap!
That is a long day, brother.
Woof.
And this is my second stream today. And they've both been fun. Don't get me wrong. A lot of fun.
Till I ruined it.
Moira, you did not ruin anything. Neither did you, my friend.
Her.
So, well, for those of us that do have channels, why don't we go around the horn, plug your channel. If you got anything coming up, plug that, and then we'll close out. And as always, ladies first.
I knew it. I have no idea what's coming up next. I have no idea. Usually I don't know till like 30 minutes before it happens. So, but if you want to come find me, that is me. Type that in and you will find me.
Yes. And folks, for those of you that are watching this now and they'll catch us on the replay, go subscribe to Moira Kitty. She has a great channel and she's really good people. And well, if she wasn't good people, I wouldn't have her on here. Like everybody else. Everybody else that's on the panel. I generally try to associate with good people. And coming in the 11th hour, Fiona Wolf.
Hello.
And I just got in from work, and yeah, it's been a long day. Fiona, good to see you, madam, and everything. Hope I'll send the link out later and everything on Twitter and everything. You can catch the replay of this. I think it was a good conversation. I hope it was anyway. So, all right, Mr. Lundell, Cece.
Mr. Lundell, you want to go first?
Okay. Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movies. B movies, sci-fi horror from 50s, 60s. I got I'll premiere some westerns. I'll premiere some film noir from the 40s. Comedies from the 30s, if I can get them. I find the right blaxploitation movie from the 70s. You'll see it on my channel. It's a daily thing. I'm getting back into riffs, a live reaction and riff. So, Mr. CCDV, guess what we're doing Friday?
Oh, Friday night. Awesome.
Night of the Living Dead.
Ah,
We might as well
Yes.
rip it.
Let's
Zombies
do
for
it.
the win.
indeed.
So you can just type my name in the little search bar and you can join my channel. I got maybe a couple hundred movies there already. Something you'll like, I know.
Oh, do you have Ghost Train?
Ghost Train, not Ghost Train.
Ghost Train is hilarious. It's
That
like
one,
kind of it's supposed to be spooky, but it's hilarious.
that one I don't have. What was the one with Telly Savalas? I can't think. It's a train movie. I can't think of the name of it right now. One of the
I
old
can't either.
one of the old Hammer films.
Oh my goodness.
So
Telly Savalas is one of those Hammer films. Oh my.
yeah,
Yeah. Ghost Train was like a 1943 movie, or just after World War II.
I think no,
It's on YouTube for free. I just type it in.
yeah, it's Phantom Train or something. I've got.
Oh, that's what you think. Yeah, this one's called Ghost Train. It's really cute though. I think it'd be right up your alley.
I
Got some
think I
humor in it.
have that one too. It was in the 30s. I think I did that like earlier this year.
Ah, dang.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go check that out.
Oh, Mr. CC, your turn.
All right, Mr. CCDV. That is my handle for YouTube. It stands for Conservative Christian Disabled Veteran. Check out my channel. I got videos on there. I do mostly live streams these days. Tomorrow at noon Central Time, it will be Pain Volume 8. If you are in chronic pain or just in temporary pain, come on and talk about it, because most of the time we want to have fun and goof off during these streams and things. But there are those of us who are in chronic pain and need to talk about it with people. So tomorrow at noon Central, I'll be doing Pain Volume 8. Sunday morning, this Sunday, I'm not going to be doing Acts chapter 8 because I'm going to be at my ex-wife's picking up my son. So I'll have to delay that for a week. But Acts chapter 8, we're getting into the Saul story, and that's where we're going to pick up 2 weeks or a week and a half from now.
Excellent.
On Wednesdays, I do a spiritual stream just before I come on with the ambassador. This week we did Buddhism. Next week will be Shinto, and then we'll swing back around to the Western religions the following week. So come and join me and see what I got.
And Nick, sorry. Yeah. I can't remember. Do you have a channel, or you just post stuff?
I do. I have it just for subbing and such, but I put up some stuff every now and then.
So, well,
I would sub to you.
Thanks.
Well, folks, for those of you know, if you're here, you know what I cover. As far as where you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Instagram. As far as the rest of this week, coming up Friday afternoon at 12:30, I'll be back with part 3, not part 4, part 3 of my Star Wars fanfiction Rey Who, and introducing some new characters, going a little deeper into the plot. And well, I'll see y'all at 12:30 and everything on Friday. So, and then be back next week with another doubleheader on Wednesday. I'll have another Babylon 5 review in the afternoon, and then to wrap up Wicked Wednesdays, next Wednesday night, 7:30 Central Time, we will be doing a watch party for the very first Scream.
Oh, that's my favorite one. I love it.
I think that's a lot of people's favorite one.
Days ago.
Yeah.
Great film. At least I think it's a great film. So be sure to tune in for that and everything. So, well, I want to thank my guests and my good friend down here to my just below me for all being here this evening. guys, this was a great discussion. I appreciate you all being here as always and everything. So, and to everybody that was in the chat, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Y'all have a great night. I will see you all Friday afternoon. And until next time, this is the Ambassadors signing off.
I have always been here.